Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to have you crafting with me today, and a very warm welcome to those who have joined in the last couple of weeks. I'm so glad to have you here, and I hope you're enjoying the videos so far. Today we are working in the blue, red and white journal that we started last week. We did this double page spread, and today we're going to tuck into the next double page spread. So how are we going to do that today? I'm going to just do some basic decorating. I'm going to try a few things. It wouldn't be one of my projects if I wasn't trying something new and potentially failing, potentially succeeding. We won't know until we get stuck in. For inspiration, drew on this book. I've had it for a really long time, since my childhood, and it's been one of my favorites. Beautiful. I've always just kept it. No matter how many declutters I've done, I've always kept this book. And so when I was at the op shop or the thrift store and I saw this little double packaged book set, it's not the same artist, but it just spoke to me, and I did take the liberty. So this is them, the verse and birthday book and address book, but I found two images from this. So again, not the same artist, but it did just give me that little nostalgic callback to my Flower Fairy books, and I want to use these today. Now, obviously, I know what you're thinking. There's a lot of other colors other than blue and red in here. So what I want to do though is we're going to do a little bit of work on these pages, and hopefully we will be able to turn them into something that will just harken back some really beautiful nostalgia for me, especially, obviously, because of my attachment to the Australian Flower Fairies. I don't think it's the same artist. I couldn't see any names that matched up between the two books, but I might be wrong about that. Okie doke. So we've got two here, and I'm going to keep the text as well for now, just in case I want to use that. I've also got something a little bit less romantic, but some CD. They in my little trolley area, there was like a big bundle of these in all different colors, and I just grabbed them because I thought, yeah, definitely there'll be a project I can use those for. So I've got those in red and blue. I've also got some just some colorful dots, so I've got a little plan for those. I've pulled out some tissue paper, got my trusty old little thing because I'm thinking I might need a drawing compass today. Very, very retro. We'll see if we need that. I've also got some tissue paper and a napkin in our blue and red and pink, light blue. I've got some acrylic paint. I've got a glue stick, just all the usual suspects. And I think we're just going to go for it. Now, what I'm thinking is that if we start out with our double page, and this book, as with all of my art journals where there's not like a specific, tri-tested, like we're using all of these pages and we're just going to do the same thing over and over. If it's an art book like this where I'm sort of experimenting, that's exactly what it's for, is experimenting, playing. I encourage you to do the same, where you're just free to run and play with reckless abandon in your journal pages, and just enjoy the, it doesn't have to be perfect. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. Just glue everything, just glue two pages together, or, keep working until we're happy. So I'm thinking something like that, even though they are a little bit, maybe just a smidgen too large, but I think we can make it work. pretty close. And then what I'm thinking we might do is put the fairies like inside, and then maybe with the envelope have it like lift up, and then we can fill this underside with some of this text, some florals, just to keep in with our shabby chic, shabby chic, Little Women, Secret Garden, this vibe. We're going to try and transfer that over onto these pages as well. So first things first, I think what I'm going to do is just cut, I'm going to roughly cut these. Okay, let's just get ourselves organized here, because I'm not actually going to be working on the actual pages for the smallest of moments. So first thing we need to do is just cut this down. And I think what I'll do is work through from start to finish. Will I? Or will I go as I go? We'll see. So how was your weekend? So it's Monday morning here for me. We are off to a flying start. Every week is a great week, start to the week, if you can do some paper crafting. So they're not quite the right size, but that's okay, because I don't need them to be, because we're going to be kind of decorating around the outside. So maybe here. She's very cute. And then same with these little cuties. So we good to have both of them in frame. So I do the same thing here. Just fold that up. Cool, very good. And then we can just trim that off. And it's Monday morning. I am feeling bold. I mean, what is this Monday confidence? Just feeling bold. And then this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but because there are so many extra colors in this image, other than our designated color palette, I'm thinking, and just to bring in a little bit more of an art journal kind of vibe, I am thinking of painting over, like creating a mask for them. So I'm going to do that now. I've got just some warm white, and then I love to, when I'm like doing little bits of painting, I like to just grab junky, I keep all my like junky paper, and then just add my paint to that and use that as my paint palette, because then it's kind of like you've got mark making already done, and you can use this in another page then. So I'll just do one, and then I'll do the other one off camera, but just so that you can follow along. So I've just got a little brush, but use whatever you've got. It doesn't have to be fancy. And I'm just going to take the acrylic paint and blot out and mask out the green and the background of things that don't sort of meet the brief of our journal. So using a small brush, and then I might upgrade as I get sort of needing sharper. So I need this little brush just to get into the little you know, the little nitpicky areas. And then when I'm coming out on the outer edge here where I've got a little bit more real estate to cover, I can just upgrade to a larger brush and just sort of dot it on. It's going to give it a nice sort of like not watercolor painting, like an oil painting kind of look if we dot it on. And then you don't need to be as fussy with your brush strokes, you know? So we're going to, as I say, we're going to be bold. Going to trust the process. And play. Just have a really nice little play in some paint. What a great way to start the week. So, oops, just put my hand in my corner there. Hang on, let's do a bit of rotation. There we go. Just blot that on. And I know paint can sometimes feel intimidating, and I'm certainly not a painter. I feel much more in control when I use pencil or watercolor pencil. It just feels much less scary, I guess, than you know, acrylic paint, oils. I did get my first little gouache set recently, and I'm yet to dive in, but that's something that I want to have a go at because I'm on a mission to up the ante with my painting skills and also my painting confidence as well, because I think that's the thing, right? You know, it's easy to be sort of feeling a little bit apprehensive in, you know, before venturing into the unknown or something that you don't feel as confident in. So for me, that's definitely something that I want to work on, and just feeling a little bit more confident. And, you know, I am a little bit of a perfectionist, but I also don't let that hold me back from trying things when it comes to art. I think, you know, the only way you kind of find your footing with things is to, you know, venture forth and have a go. So that's kind of what journaling is for, you know, just a place to put thoughts, ideas, experiments. So that's what this is going to be achieving. And during Fisherman's Basket project, I did have one little video where we actually used paint to make like a faux painted postcard. So do check out that video if you're interested in another little painting tutorial. Not that this is a tutorial, it's just what I'm doing. But I do love adding my own little bits of something to the page, and I don't mind using wet materials. I know they can be a bit scary, especially if you're used to just cutting and pasting and having everything be quite tidy, and you know, sometimes this type of thing can feel a little bit messy, and for sure it can be. But it is a nice way to just add a little bit of something extra by your hand, and make it feel just that little bit more handmade. So I did both the whites, and then I also, just out of curiosity, went ahead and added the red to our little pink one here. And I'm happy with how that's going. I think that's going to just look a little bit more at home in this red envelope. We could do them contrasting actually, which might look even better. So we're going to do the blue one in the same fashion. Now I'm going to leave her hair this sort of like really, really light, soft blonde, but these are very, very yellowy, sandy, dirty blonde, and I think grey will be a good little connector colour between the blue and white. So I've got grey, and I might just add a little bit of white to it just to soften it the smallest amount. And so I've got so I'll just mix off the smallest amount of grey here. And I think they'll still look cute with grey hair. I think it will work, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. It might not, maybe it won't contrast quite enough, but so I'm just using really light, just light flicky kind of brush strokes here, and just covering up that yellow. And even though, yes, obviously there are going to be other colours in the journal, not just blue and white and red, but I think that your eye will just kind of enjoy just things being a little bit more chilled in terms of like too many other colours. So I'm just adding a little bit of white to the middle. And then the grey is a little bit of an older paint, so it's not going to be as smooth to work with, but that's okay. Just add a little bit of darker grey to the top. Okay, just smooth out those brush strokes just a little bit, because obviously the original image has such fine, delicate kind of brush strokes. We don't want ours to look like too out of place, you know. So just kind of the same thing here. Actually hadn't intended this to be a little painting project, but I guess it is. There you go. But that's what happens, isn't it? When you're when we're journaling, it's like you sit down and you have a plan, but then the paper kind of takes you. The paper takes you where you need to go. Like it kind of ends up dictating what you're doing on the day, even though you have, you know, the best of intentions, things to be a certain way. All right, cute. Now, next, I think we'll also do their wings in that same, we'll incorporate some of that same grey into their wings, just as a little bit of continuity. So that's sort of what I did here with our red fairy. I've just used the same, it was just the same two colours really. And we'll just lighten, we'll just keep it nice and light and just sort of paint around some of those dots. So probably are going to lose a little bit of the contrast of this image because obviously the blue and yellow contrast so well against each other, but that's okay. we're going for a higher, working towards a higher purpose of just keeping it within our colour palette. So just painting that down. And then I wonder what sort of blues. So I've only got a couple of blues in my stash, this cobalt and this aquamarine, but I'm wondering if they might even end up being quite similar to this. So let's just go for it. Let's just go for it. And then if it's not dark enough, we can always just add just a little bit of black. So I'm just going to lightly dab that on in the areas that are yellow. And the message here is use what you've got, and if it's not the perfect thing that you need for your project that you're working on that day, just change it. Change it so that it is. You know, don't be afraid to just have a play and use up what you've got. And then I might just mix, see what happens here. We just mix up a slightly darker variation on that blue, so that it's not quite so strong. And then so that it's just a little bit more neutral than the green. Because the thing about these particular images, like I noticed when I was doing the red one, that like the features and the facial features of our little characters and things are very soft. So any lines that I do here are going to kind of stand out quite a bit because the images are so soft. So maybe we'll add a little, I mean, I know this is yellow, so technically it should be that blue. But let's see, just have a go, have a play, just have a play. I don't think you're doing it right if you're stressing and worrying if it's not perfect. Definitely don't think you're doing it right. And then have I got enough here? Hopefully I've mixed up enough. So it's a little bit scrappy, but I am happy with that because, you know, it just means that, oh, we can use a bit of this white. Because it means I can just use some of these little flower fairies, and that was the goal. So I've got our two little paintings. Now we need our little faux paintings. So I'm thinking the easiest way is to open these up, because we could just sort of slide them in and out all the time. But I think it might be easier if we just open it up, and then instead of pulling this in and out of the pocket hole, we can just lift this flap up and down. Yes? And then we will be working, we'll have to work not upside down, but we'll have to work here. So we're just going to open the flaps, and if you need to use a tool to do this, maybe I would suggest something very unsharp, maybe a butter knife or something. So it doesn't matter if these get too bent up because they'll be stuck back down at the end. Just take it nice and easy. Okay. Because even though it's, I mean, if you were doing like if you were making these into like journal cards that you were sliding in and out of the pocket, you might not need to worry about that step. Okay, so what I'm thinking is I think I will just stick with red and blue with blue. And we'll just kind of center it off. We'll just kind of center it off as best we can. And then I've just got my dry glue here. I think that will be sufficient for today, for this step. Because I have kind of a harebrained idea for this. And I don't know if it's going to work. So we're just going to, look, you're going to be witnessing what it's like when I get one of my harebrained ideas. It might be amazing, or it might be amazing in a different way. In a different way. It might be amazing in a different way. For a whole other reason. They're cute, aren't they? Little cherubs, little darlings. Okay, that's pretty cute. Now, I'm trying to decide what's the, what the least fussy way of doing this is. So what I want to do is actually put something around the perimeter of this, but on the inside, so that it's sort of coming in off the edge. And I'm trying to decide if it's easier to use my protractor to like draw out a circle, or if it's easier to take the plastic off and just trace a circle. Maybe we'll try this. So if we come down here on the bottom, because we can then just use some sticky tape to put it back. We've basically deconstructed the whole envelope at this point. That's okay. That's what we're doing. So just going to trace around it. I don't want to touch this with my pencil if possible. And then I guess, seeing as we've done one, and to save us a bit of time, if I line this up exactly, we should be able to use this one for both. So we just line up the crease. I think that's pretty close. So we just line up the crease. So it's going to be covered. So yeah, it's pretty close. All right, very good. So we didn't need the protractor after all. So is that what that's called? Circle maker protractor? I think so. I'm not. Don't quote me on that actually. All right, so I've got these, and I thought what we could do is just make like a little filigree border for them. And I don't know if I have enough of these light blue ones. I think the light blue. I've also got dark. Have I got dark blue? It's quite bold. Do I have enough? These are thrifted, and these ones I've had for years. Okay, so I don't have enough dark blue. But what I can do is maybe cut them in half. I can cut them in half. So double our amount of stickers. And then where we need like quite to cover the edge of this, where there wasn't quite enough room, we'll use whole ones. So if we start here, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just play and have fun. I'm going to do 2. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to go with it and just see. See what happens. Because you know the motto of my channel is that it's only paper. It's only paper. And if you need to start over, so be it. So how's that covered that gap? Pretty much. So we'll just move this one. I think this needs to be just a bit more across. And same with this one. Pretty close, pretty close. And again, if this doesn't work out, by all means, take the idea and make it better, please. Make it better. Make it better. Hopefully we've got enough. I'm going to work around. I'm going to work from the outside to the middle. So that if I get to the middle and I've run out, I can maybe put some of the darker blue ones, you know, make it look like it's supposed to be that way. But we might be okay. So just using something very basic like a blue dots or sticker dots that are quite ubiquitous. I feel like you can get them anywhere. Well, I mean, right? Like you can still get them at like stationery stores and stuff, right? Like Officeworks if you're in Australia. And same with like news agencies. I mean, it's such a paperless world now in terms of office supplies, isn't it? Like it's so, everything's so clinical and like digital. So it's hard, isn't it, to find, sometimes it is hard to find these types of things. But I think even just like places like the Reject Shop or like the cheap shop like Choice, you'd be able to get some things like this, I think. And as always, check secondhand first. Check secondhand first so that you can maybe get some at a really good price. So kind of overlapped a little bit down there. I might reposition those. So let's have another go. they're very, very forgiving actually, aren't they? Very forgiving. So we can just rearrange it, covering our pencil line. So just keep shuffling with them until you get them sort of in a place that you're happy with, where they're sort of framing out the image. Because the outside looks very strange, but it's the inside that we're sort of focusing on. See? Cute! Very cute. So this one needs to come out. This one needs to come out a little. So just keep fussing with the flap until you get it into a spot that looks good. And actually cutting the stickers is actually great because you're not, you're only using half as many. So you can save them for something else. All right, they're looking great. So I did both, and then I also just reattached the plastic on this one. And I was actually thinking while I was doing that actually this would be really pretty like without the plastic too. So, you know, maybe if you like, you know, want the window effect but without having any plastic, that would be really cute as is. So I think what we do now is we reattach the flaps and seal up our envelopes. And I do think that that's an easy way, is just to work directly onto the back face of the envelope there. So if you can open these two flaps without too much drama, give that a go. I just used sticky tape, plastic sellotape to reattach that plastic covering there, and it has made it just a smidgen bulky, but that will flatten out obviously once it's in the journal. So there we go. Oh my gosh, they're so pretty. That's exactly what I had in mind here for these, or something very similar. So that's a win. We love that. Love when that happens. And the plan comes together. Now, I'm going to decorate these again before we attach them, because I think that will just make it that much easier. I've got some washi tape. Oh, so don't sleep on these. Don't sleep on these. If you see them, grab them. You never know when you might be able to use them for something. And then I've got some stamps. So we'll just see where this takes us, I think. So I'm thinking we'll add some washi to the side here. Gingham washi is always great value, isn't it? Because you can line it up. You can line up the edges so that it's straight-ish. Straight-ish. There we go. It came to the end of the roll there. Of course. Oh dear, oh dear. We are not going to let that hold us back, are we? No. No, no, no. So what have I got that I can use instead? I don't actually have that much blue washi tape. But what I might do is, if I can find, do I have anything that's blue that's I've just got my washi tape here beside me. We're just going to go with this. I was going to say I could, you know, add something to this one that's a bit of a novelty, you know, make it look like it's supposed to be like that. But I actually don't have anything that's just blue. I've got plenty of red ones and pink ones. This will be fine. Do this and move on. There we go. Put our dry glue again, and I'm just going to just add a postage stamp. I think having some light ephemera just sort of, you know, encroaching on this cello will just make it just that much more interesting. I've got 2 stamps from New Zealand here. When I got back from New Zealand, I had a look on Marketplace to see if I could find any older New Zealand postage stamps to use in my New Zealand travel journal, which I have not been working on as often as I would like to at this stage, but you know what, it's always there. This is why it's good to write a literary kind of, you know, journal experience while you're overseas or traveling, just so that you don't sort of forget what you did and where you went, and what you did, so that then if it's a while before you can get back to your journaling, you don't forget what you were doing. I also forgot this with this little page here. Something I like to do, and I keep these, is just to make butterflies, you know, like when you're a kid, so that you can experience that paint, any leftover paint. And then I have a whole drawer of these. So my plan one day is to just pop them all into one master journal so that I can use up all my little painty bits. So going to first lay down our envelopes. Glue those down. And I'm just going to do a little test close just to make sure that's going to behave and not be, you know, getting crinkled. Oh my goodness, how pretty already. How pretty already. Okay. So now I want to coat each page in my favorite, almost favorite supply, tissue paper. Just going to lay that down. you want one or two? Maybe just one. And then I couldn't find a really, really light blue one. So this is very similar to, tonally, to what we've already got on the page, but that's okay. That's okay. We're using what we've got, remember? And it doesn't matter if they're not both the same in terms of size and in terms of how they're cut. The more interesting, the better. Now I've got two images, blue and pink, that are both fabric related images. And I've also got two, I mean, what a turn of good fortune, two images that both have little hearts and are related to sewing. So I'm going to cut these out and then we can use those. And I'm also going to cut out some of these pink roses. Are they roses? Yes, rose. Pink rose, and which is a tissue paper, and I'm going to cut out some of these blue hydrangeas from this napkin. Right, so I've done all my fussy cutting. That took a moment. And I want to start arranging it. I've got all my red bits and pieces on this side, all my blue on this side. Now I found this. This is really pretty. And I think what I might do is just go for it. Like, it's going to be kind of maximalist. But I think I like that idea. So we're just going to go for it. We're going to just cut this in kind of a... not quite down the middle. And just sort of, you know, split the difference with the pockets. So I've got, maybe we do this. We're just going to go for it. Going to go for it. It's always like, I mean, I know you don't always know what you're going to use when you first start, but like if you can fussy cut like before you start, or like even like the night before, or not while you're in the middle of your project, isn't it always so much better? Like, it can really take you out of, I mean, I love fussy cutting. It doesn't bother me to do it, but it does kind of, I think it can kind of interrupt your flow a little bit. I enjoy the like the sort of concentration of it, I guess. And the, like, your mind can wander a little bit, which might be good or it might not be good. So going to just get these down. I ended up finding this secondary patchwork, these secondary patchwork shapes on the other side of one of the pieces of paper I was cutting out with the little heart, the blue heart. So I thought, why not integrate those as well? They kind of go. Actually, while I'm at it, I might just a bit of stamping. Up there. I should use a stamp block. let's mirror it. There. You know, just don't think about it too much. Just go for it. Just go for it. Pop those down. Just kind of breaks up some of that really loud red. And then for the blue one, this window, I kind of thought maybe it might be cool to, like, instead of just sticking the one piece on, to like maybe break up the shapes. So instead of having like just one big block of image, I like fussy cut all of the little bits out of the windows, like the little window sections, and I'm just going to lay those down out of order. So and put this down so that we get this little butterfly and kind of a hint of it once this is closed, you know. We'll get a little hint, a little taste of that. And then maybe we'll put like this one here. Just for a bit of interest, you know. And they don't have to, in fact, I think it's better that they don't, that these both don't match, you know. Actually, let's go this way. So again, we're getting, when this is shut, we're getting a bit of detail. And then some of this really pretty. It's so pretty. I don't know what the idea of it is. Like a window pane with a embroidered doily behind it, I guess. And if we put this down here, that'll cover the white bit, the flap, the white flap. Likewise, if we put this little area, this little section just here, that'll cover up that. Let's go off center. Like so. I don't mind this. And then this bit, oh, my desk has just got very dark because I think it's about to storm yet again. Okay, so, oh, so pretty. Okay, so we're going to fold those down. And then I think these little, I think it's an opportunity to, oh, I might leave those till last, the little hearts, because I thought it might be an opportunity to add something else on the cello part. And now our flowers, oh my goodness, they're so pretty, luscious. And I tried to cut out like 5, as in 5 flowers, to have on each, like as an odd number. It's going to be very fiddly to glue these on without tearing them, because obviously they're tissue paper and napkin paper. And just as a top tip, if you are cutting out napkin paper, just leave, there's like usually 2, there's like the very thick back layer, but then there's like another little layer that sits like just behind your image. Leave that on if you can. So like here's a little bit of off cut so you can see what I mean. So like leave that on and cut through it, so you're not having to cut through like really thin paper. So where can we put this one? Maybe here. And for this I might just have to lay the glue like on. And just be very, very patient and gentle with all of your little bits. Oh yeah, there it is. There's the rain. I knew it was coming. So we just tuck that over because why not? And then depending on, I mean, each one can be different, right? So, oh my goodness, how absolutely pretty is that? Okay. So I might be able to, oh, it's going to be, because as I say, I just cut this very fine. I mean, I've already cut this and the paper is off the back of it. So it's very fiddly and awkward to cut, but that's okay. We're going to be gentle and we're going to make it work. So maybe here. Just where there's like a, you know, a break in the image slightly. I don't mind like empty space. I think that's actually one of the things about journaling, that if you can get that right, like empty space, you're halfway there, because if you can work out where to put something and where not to put something. And then maybe one up here. And it doesn't have to be centered, as in straight. How are we going there? All stuck down. Okay, beautiful. Oh my goodness, hydrangeas are my absolute favorite. I love them so much. Okay, so this one we might put on a bit of an angle here. Again, conscious of empty space. And I'm going to leave this open so that all of my glue can dry, because I've kind of been a bit liberal with the glue. And then again, they don't have to match. Kind of. Maybe here, and it is going to cover up this little edge bit. But that's okay. Just so that it sort of it's integrated, you know. it's integrated. Pretty, hey? Using like semi-transparent bits, so like tissue paper, napkin paper, and you don't need to use like Mod Podge or anything too wet on your transparent pieces. You can just use glue, like a glue stick. Okay, so that's got to dry off a smidgen, and then do we need this other little bit? I mean, kind of matching and cute, maybe? Yeah, why not? Oh. All right, I think to finish this off, so this is how we're looking so far. We've got our little flaps and they open and they're beautiful, beautiful. I do think still I need some text here, like a little poem or a little something. And just to give you something to reward you for opening the flap other than just these beautiful images, like something to pique the interest of having opened the flaps. I think that I might do a little digging for myself and see if I can find something that speaks to me, and I might type it up on the computer and just put something here and something here. So leave that with me. I'm going to look into that and do that. And I think to finish off, just to carry through some of these black, and to reinforce the focal point. And you'll notice I did end up sticking the hearts just asymmetrically. They don't match. They don't really go together, as in they don't mirror each other, and that's fine. I think what I might do though is just add some faux stitching, and yes, of course, we did that in our previous page here. But I think I'm going to do that here just to add a little bit more of this, pick up on some of these other blacks. It might end up being too heavy, but I think it will just finish it off. So all we're going to do here, everything's still just a bit wet and damp, so we're just going to go nice and easy. And of course, sewing is going to be a theme through this journal. So it's not, I don't think having a little bit of repetition with the, some of the visual elements that we're reiterating page by page will be fatiguing for the viewer. I think it will be okay. And, we've got to think about the composition as a whole, but also the composition of the whole journal, but then also page to page as we go too. So again, just bearing in mind that things are a little damp still. So we're going to go nice and easy and sort of turn as we go so that I'm not putting my hand over what I've just done. And of course, if you wanted to, and something I definitely could have done and probably should have done, is put some glue here. Put some glue before you reattach the envelope flaps and like glue everything back together. Put some glue, and that will actually hold the window flat, so you won't actually see in around your edges. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else I need to do here. I think anything else and it's going to be a bit too much, other than to add some words that will inspire me or that feel like they belong here. And yes, even though we have kind of done a repeat, like as in it's not like this previous page where we've got like, something different happening across the whole double spread. I love it. I think it definitely communicates. If you did want to, what you could do is just have one flap and then, carry this across, carry your collage across and just have like a page sort of like this. But I love our little double spread, little flower fairies. I don't think I need to really run through everything we did. We just, recreated a border. We did some matting behind our flower fairies so that they fit in with the color scheme of the journal. We use these little fun circular CD envelopes to house our little matted paintings, and then bordered them off with some washi tape, did some decorating, used some mixed media in terms of tissue paper, napkins, some book page images, a little bit of stamping just to sort of break up some of that dead space. But that's it. Some lovely collage on this rainy Monday afternoon. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for crafting with me today. I'd love to know if you're working on something similar. Let's get a conversation going down in the comments so that we can all communicate, share ideas. And I guess I'll see you next time. And in the meantime, please look after yourselves and take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.